Hey everyone, how's it going? I am Xeracon and I am back once again. Valve dropped quite the bombshell last week with its announcements. I mean, it's not even just one announcement because they dropped three pieces of hardware last week. Wait, three? But yes, there were three pieces of hardware that were revealed. One was the Steam machine, which is something that I've talked about before in the past amidst rumors. There was also the new Steam controller and the Steam frame, which is the successor to the Valve Index. And each of these are going to be releasing next year, early next year. Valve hasn't set a specific date, but I'm probably guessing within the first quarter. So, sometime. I mean, I wouldn't say January, but maybe like February, March. That could be it. But yeah, so let's go ahead to the Steam page or pages and see what these are exactly. I'll show you. So we have, of course, the Steam machine here. This is the console, and this thing is definitely tiny. Well, once it actually, yeah, here we go. Yeah, this thing is, it's a nice little cube thing, almost like a GameCube, but it's really tiny, as you can see, really small, very minuscule in size. And yeah, it's got different ports. Of course, it's running Steam OS, which is awesome. I love to see it. Got that Linux stuff going there. And it's got different stuff. Now, unfortunately, the rumors were true regarding the hardware specs, and I'll come down here. It's a Zen 4 CPU, 6 cores, the RDNA 3 GPU, which also has 8 gigs of VRAM, which is unfortunate. And I was roughly on the mark because I can't remember if I talked about my video or if this was on the Orange Box podcast, but I did mention it being, based on what I was seeing here, probably roughly around like a 7600. I wasn't too far off. Digital Foundry did a video on this and said that was actually more like a 7600M, which is the mobile version of the 7600. So it is a bit weaker there, and that's quite disappointing to say the least, honestly, because this is sort of like new hardware and stuff, and it's using last gen specs essentially. And I mean, again, I can understand the fact that it's got such a small form factor. You don't want anything too powerful in there, and worry about cooling and stuff. But at the same time, it's just disappointing. I mean, they could have at least given us more VRAM, in my opinion. Like, I think 8, we're getting at the point where if you want to play games at 1080p, and I think, where do they even say on here? I can't remember where on this page they said, but something about playing games at 4K, which I'm just thinking to myself, who are you fooling with 8 gigs of VRAM in this day and age? Okay, it might, yeah, right here. 4K gaming at 60 FPS. Who are you fooling? And I was really confused here about the storage size being expandable with micro SD cards, but it makes sense why they did this, and I'll explain that in just a moment here. But different IO ports here, and I mean, all in all, it's interesting, but it's really just, I really hope that the pricing for this isn't ridiculous, because something like this, I honestly think, and Valve did say that they want to price this competitively, but I mean, price it compared with a desktop PC. But with something like this, it really should not be more than $600. I think you're really asking a lot here, especially for something that's already sort of niche. You can't be pushing your buttons too far here. But and sort of a compliment that, here is the Steam controller, and this is something that, yeah, we were definitely on the Orange Box podcast, really looking forward to the most. Rumors, just because, and I've also mentioned this here before, especially when I was reviewing the HoriPad, is that I really wanted something that would be a true successor to the original Steam controller, something that would be much better. And this is definitely it. Looks more like a Steam Deck, but without the screen, which is great because the Steam Deck is a very comfortable handheld, so I don't have a problem with this. It looks a little, looks a little funny. I'm I'm wondering how the rear buttons are going to feel, just because I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical. Some rear buttons feel better than others, so I just want to make sure that those I guess four, since two on the left, two on the right, are good. But I mean, overall, I have no problem with the design here. If it's, if it feels the same way as holding a Steam Deck, then I think we're in good hands here. Of course, it has a lot of the other functions. It has gyro support. It has haptic feedback. Let me go there. It has, I guess, a new, or I guess a weird kind of plug here for the charging the battery. Not sure what that's all about here. But it's got that. And I was also curious here because it said next generation magnetic thumbsticks, because I was generally just hoping that it was going to have Hall effect joysticks, but apparently uh, magnetic thumbsticks are a little better than Hall effects. So then I guess I have no complaints there if it's gonna be better than that. So yeah, good there. Now obviously, of course, this will be working with all your Steam hardware, and it also has trackpads, which of course you can see, and I think that's definitely cool. It sort of improves upon what the original Steam controller was doing, because I think that while sometimes the trackpad is okay, and I have used the original Steam controller, but I think sometimes just using a right thumbstick was much better, and so I'm glad that Valve has learned from their mistake and is working there. And of course, this is something I also want to talk about, is the fact that the controller works pretty much anywhere with Steam hardware. So of course you got on your computer, your Steam Deck, Steam Machine, Steam Frame, which I'll get more into. And so I guess I'll sort of pause here and say that Valve is creating a sort of ecosystem in of itself, just because they're creating all these hardware, all these pieces of hardware, and they have something for pretty much every every type of platform media. So you have your handheld, you have your I really hesitate to call this a console since it's a PC, but you have the Steam Machine, and then you have the VR. So it's pretty cool here, and I've already gone ahead and pre-ordered all this stuff because I'm very curious. I'm very interested in seeing what's happening in the future. And then lastly, there is the Steam Frame, and this is definitely different from what I see and from what I've been looking at different. Okay, why aren't you loading? There we go. From the previous Valve Index, because the Valve had like these sensors that you would set up, and you needed at least two of, or I mean, you could use one, but it was recommended to have at least two, and you could have more, just to help with the accuracy of the headset. This one is purely wireless, which is definitely interesting. And additionally, it's sort of a PC to a degree. It's got like a Snapdragon processor, so you can sort of use it, independently. Would I recommend it? Probably not, especially depending on the type of VR games you want to play, but you have that option. And it also has like these special sensors that track your eye movement for better stuff. Now, one thing that I was really curious about was, and I'm glad this popped up here, was where in the world is the where's the head, where's like the audio supposed to be coming from? Because at least with the Valve Index one, the I guess headphones were right where you would expect an ear to be. So like it would be, I think it was around here, but I don't see that here. And based on the schematics, it looks like it's really more so around here, which is weird to me. So I don't get that at all. Like, let me see right here. Scroll down. Yeah. So like it says that the speakers are right here, which I don't know. If it's a speaker, I don't know why they're doing that, because it kind of defeats the purpose of a headset, because it's supposed to be personal. But if, other people are able to hear what you're hearing, that just, it seems off to me. And then of course you've got the controllers here, which are reminiscent kind of an actual controller, but just, I guess you could even compare it to, say, Joy-Con, just because they do function. They do have that full functionality. You can use it as a full controller. And you can also play other games besides your regular Steam games in your Valve Index, which, I'm sorry, not Valve, your Steam Frame, which I think is kind of cool, because while it won't function one to one the same way because you won't have that same head movement, but that would essentially mean you could play other FPS games within your Steam frame, and you can sort of get that experience, even though you won't be able to do stuff like move your head around and use the controls will be different as well, but it will at least immerse you more a bit in those type of games. So I think that's pretty cool there. Um, and yes, of course, like I said, this is running Steam OS as well and whatnot. And of course, it's sort of like that. It's definitely, I would say, much weaker than the Steam frame, the Steam machine, obviously. I've heard that this is also weaker than the Steam Deck, so I wouldn't recommend playing anything too demanding on here. Running natively, I mean, if you're streaming, that's one thing, but if you're running something natively, like I don't know, if you're trying to run Expedition 33, I would not recommend that. I mean, I don't even recommend that on a Steam Deck. I certainly don't recommend it on a piece of hardware weaker than that. So yeah, but all in all, though, it's an interesting collection here of hardware. The one thing apart from the release date that I'm most curious about is the pricing. I think that's definitely the question that everyone wants to know, and I gotta be honest, Valve is gonna have to do something really good here. Now, the Steam controller, I'm going to take a gander and say maybe it could be about $80, considering the fact that it's got that stuff in there. It shouldn't be more than that. I really do not want it to be more than that. If I'm wrong and it's like 70, I'll take that. But it really should not be more than $80 in my opinion. Steam Machine, like I said, more than 600. You're really asking a lot. You're really asking a lot. Sure, it's the simplicity of it's an open, not open box, but it's a out of the box experience because you have SteamOS on there and it's all good to go. You just log in and play it. But still, at the end of the day, with the hardware, I question that, and obviously it's also going to be limited with how you can upgrade it. So while it is a PC similar to the original Steam machine, or at least the Alienware version, the initial Alienware version, you're gonna be really hard pressed to do a lot of upgrades on here. Now you're probably gonna be able to upgrade your storage and maybe even your RAM, but beyond that, you're not gonna be able to upgrade the GPU. And I'm curious if you could upgrade the CPU. That would be interesting, but at the same time, depending on what type of CPU you use, how hot that runs within that small box, you probably wouldn't want to, or at least you would want to do, like, really have something that's really efficient with it, with how it runs. So you wouldn't do too much there. Steam Frame is definitely interesting. I would probably, if I had to guess, I would say maybe $700. That one I could see being probably the most expensive out of the three. But I mean, maybe $800 at most, I would say. But like, I would like to say $700. It would be great if there was some sort of bundle that had all three together. I would definitely buy that. I would definitely do it, especially if it had a slight discount. Absolutely. I would definitely buy that because I'm interested in all three, especially the controller, because the controller was something that I really wanted Valve to put out there. And while I still do not understand 100% why the Steam machine needs to be a thing, if this gets people interested in console, I mean, oh gosh, what did I even say there? PC gaming, and even better, Linux gaming, okay, Penguin people rise up, then I would definitely be, I'm not against that, but still, at the same time, it's just the hardware is really questionable to me. Steam Frame, I have nothing negative to say about that. I think this is promising. I definitely interested in seeing more of this in the future. Who knows? Maybe we'll see something at the Game Awards. I mean, I doubt it, but maybe we might get more information there, some sort of teaser. Who knows? And one thing I do want to also add is that I possibly think that Deadlock could be a launch game for this. It would make sense to me if Valve did that because, it's the game they've already been working for. It's something that's been in development. And, for having a new piece of hardware, why not? I mean, I feel like if Half-Life Alyx was available when the Index launched, that would have been right there with it. I think this is something that is similar, where this is a game that would launch there. If they wanted to go ahead and do something like drop Half-Life 3 on there, I feel like that would definitely be massive right there. That would be huge. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. We'll definitely have to see. But that will do it for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on this below. Are you interested in the Steam Machine controller frame? What do you think about how Valve is setting up? What do you think the price is going to be? That's going to be something that I think a lot of people are talking about. And so let me know what you think of the price. What do you think of the hardware specs as well? And also let me know what you think of when the release date's going to be for everything here. And also, are you going to pre-order this? I definitely am waiting for that. As soon as that happens, I'm going to put my pre-order in. But yeah, let me know what you think. So until next time, everyone, I am iamxeracon signing off. Have a good one.